G'day, welcome to the Hit Up. We're down at the Players Village at the Australian Open. If you want to know what the latest news is, you've come to the right place. Let's check out what's going on in the Player Village. From the Player Village, we're hitting the road, heading towards the central goldfields town of Bendigo, where the Bendigo International Qualifying Tournament took place this week. We'll pick up the commentary here with Catherine Aulia serving to stay in the match. And she's won that point. You can just see, as you can see, she's really contained with her on-court expression. Doesn't give much away outwardly, but I'm sure that there's a really fierce competitive streak inside this girl. But very calm demeanour, really professional demeanour actually. Like, you can imagine the mental pressure a young player putting themselves under at this level, and it wasn't easy for her. And you'll notice that the last couple of points a bit longer than usual, so she was finding her way into the game as far as making a game of it, if that makes sense. I'm probably asking myself if that makes sense. You'll find that you've probably noticed that this is as somewhat live a commentary as I can possibly provide. I do apologise that I haven't edited the audio for this footage because I want to turn it around as quick as possible. So just keep that in mind, that speed and efficiency were the name of the game, and I didn't, without wanting to affect the quality, of course. And it might help to know I already had a couple of false starts today, so this is about my third or fourth go at getting this commentary done, or this this audio in terms of recording it. So if you keep an eye on Catherine, and I decided to focus on her for the end of this match because you could see the fight back coming, and she did make a go of it, and that talent that I was speaking about, she did show it to us, and she did make a go of it. So we might be in the last match, the last game here actually. I'll just double check. Apologies there. It's not that I'm disorganised. I'm just I've got a couple of screens open. So this is the last. This is the last game of the second set. We're coming up to match point with Jamie Loeb looking to break Catherine to take the victory. It caught me by surprise actually. Like, I knew it was coming up. It was a little bit tricky to hear the umpire. This is match point. Catherine serving to stay in the match, and unfortunately nets the return. And she has finished her run at the Bendigo International. But I'm pretty sure Catherine. Okay, welcome back. Thanks for joining us again. Just a really brief audio just to give you some context to the video that came out in News Bites earlier today. Vasek Pospisil playing the local wildcard. Playing the local wildcard Matthew Romios, who put up a good fight, but went down in straight sets. So this match was slated yesterday for centre court. Got underway later in the day after the 12:30 match between Fabiano of Italy and Kelly of Australia. Pospisil started off really well. You're just watching the player warm up here. The match got underway. Pospisil went out to a 4-1 lead very, very quickly, and it was at that stage that I had to leave this match and set myself up for the Jamie Loeb, Catherine Aulia match, which took place on the adjoining court, Court 4, next to the centre court. Pospisil, his name jumped out off the schedule for me because we mentioned him in a recent episode of Player Watch for break point percentage stats for players ranked between 100 and 200 in the world. So I hope you enjoyed this footage of the Pospisil match. It was great seeing this young Australian take him on. Matthew Romeos certainly gave a good account of himself, and although losing in straight sets, he's playing an extremely experienced player. I could not believe my eyes, and I'll finish off here, that I could not believe my eyes that Vasek Pospisil, I know he'd been around for a while, but I couldn't believe it. He was 40 years of age. Well done, you. And it looks like we'll be doing a future episode of Player Watch on old timers, because the other day, for those listening, you'll also know that in the same episode we came across Philip Kohlschreiber still going around at 38. And Vasek there just looking for an extra ball. He had a minute to warm up. He wanted an extra serve. So we'll wrap it up there. You've been listening to The Bloke Who Walks. Have a great new year. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this special episode of the Spotlight series. The match play review between Catherine Ollier of Australia, the wild card, going down 6-1, 6-2 to Jamie Loeb, the 8th seed in the Bendigo International. Don't forget that by subscribing or smashing the like button, you'll be helping this channel grow and spread to the global tennis community. Make sure that you're notified of any new episode published and distributed. We'll be bringing you lots of fresh, unique content from the Australian Open in 2022. Welcome back to the Hit Up. It was great to get out and see some live tennis action in Bendigo. We're back at the Player Village at the National Tennis Centre in Melbourne, and from here we're taking a look at the ATP Cup, which got underway in Sydney. Australia's team is being led by Alex de Minaur and James Duckworth, Australia, the host nation and a wild card entry. Their opponents, Russia and Italy. Let's take a look at the ATP Cup team for Australia. Led by Alex de Minaur, his Tokyo 2020 Olympics was derailed by COVID and he was spanked in the Davis Cup in September. Let's meet de Minaur's diamonds. James Duckworth recently hit a career best 54th in the world. He'd been consulting Pat Rafter and making minor changes to his training regime. John Peers is ranked number 13 in the world in doubles. He last competed in singles in 2014. Luke Saville has also been picked for his doubles expertise, currently sitting number 23 in the world. And he's also got a singles ranking of 642 in 2021. At 27 is he lost to singles. Joining them is Australia's newest Olympian, Max Purcell, ranked 176 in the singles in 2021. We took a look at Max and met him in our news bite earlier this month. If you want to check it out and learn more about Max, we'll put a link below in the description. As at the time of recording this episode, it was still unknown if Novak Djokovic was going to be attending the ATP Cup. But we do know that a late replacement was Casper Ruud. Meanwhile, looking at Alex de Minaur's prospects, he has never beaten Daniil Medvedev of Russia or Matteo Berrettini of Italy. As things panned out during that first week of January 2022, de Minaur put up a great fight to beat Berrettini, but unfortunately lost to Medvedev in straight sets. Don't forget that by subscribing or smashing the like button, you'll be helping this channel grow and spread to the global tennis community. Make sure that you're notified of any new episode published and distributed. We'll be bringing you lots of fresh, unique content from the Australian Open in 2022. Next, we'll take a look at the wildcards for Sydney. Welcome back to This Australian Open Life. We tell stories and our story is tennis. A heads up in this news bite that we'll be taking an extended look at the wildcards, those players, bite-sized and behind the stats, looking at those players awarded wildcards for the Sydney Classic, Sydney Tennis Classic. This week, our Spotlight series continues as we look at the players and their reaction we'll be looking at their 2021 form and briefly looking into their 2021 stats to try and get an idea of how they might perform at that lead-up tournament. They'll be wanting to use those wildcards to build up a good run of form for the Australian summer leading into the Australian Open 2022. We'll also take a look at the main draw players for the Sydney Tennis Classic coming up this week. From the 10th of January onwards, don't miss out. Look out for our Spotlight episodes where we shine a spotlight on the wildcards for Sydney and the Melbourne Somerset. Released daily, 4 p.m. weekdays. How well do you know the Bendigo wildcards? Can you name the player featured on the screen here, the ITF player featured in this news bite? Did she win her first round at the Bendigo International? Our featured match was the 8th seed Jamie Loeb playing the 17-year-old wildcard from Sydney, Catherine Aulia. You can enjoy more of these episodes from the Australian Open. We'll be bringing you episodes with unique and topical content. Tennis fans, Melbourne can't wait to welcome you all back to Melbourne Park. This Australian Open Life is on site, on hand. Our episodes are fresh, unique, topical, with content you simply cannot find anywhere else in one easy to go to place. Created and produced in Melbourne, Australia, this Australian Open Life is bringing coverage that only a true Melbourne local can deliver. But don't worry, if you think we're rushing through these, players will pop up on News Bites or the Player Watch Spotlight series. What's he doing there? Nick Kyrgios has got a second wild card. What's all that about? Is that favouritism? So Nick, I don't know. You need to focus on what's going on court. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us again. It's great to have your company. Really appreciate you taking time out of your Christmas, New Year's break to tune in to this Australian Open Live. And we're going to have a look at the wild cards. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at the Sydney Tennis Classic. Not much news here, to be honest, and I'm not going to be speaking at length much about the player who's been surprisingly awarded a wild card here. Can you guess who I'm talking about? It's the other half of the Special K's, young Nick Kyrgios, ranked 93 in the world. I'm a bit surprised at that ranking. I thought he was a bit lower. Nick certainly makes some interesting choices as to what tournaments he chooses to play. Is he a part-time player these days? Some would say yes. Is he a part-time player in terms of his attitude on the court? You never know what you're going to get with Nick. So Nick, I don't know. You need to focus on what's going on court. The main draw of the Sydney Classic, Alex de Minaur in the main draw there. That's an ATP 250, that tournament, for the blokes. And for the women, it's a WTA 500. And Ash Barty will be at the Sydney Classic as well as the Adelaide International. So plenty to look forward to there for Australian fans. Welcome back to this Australian Open Life. We're taking a look at the wildcards and we're halfway through. We're now going into the Melbourne Somerset and there's a lot of players to get through here. There's a lot of main draw wildcards, but also qualifying wildcards to the Melbourne Somerset event. But don't worry, if you think we're rushing through these names, some of these players will pop up in future episodes of News Bites or the Player Watch Spotlight series. What's he doing there? Nick Kyrgios has got a second wild card. What's all that about? Is that favouritism? Does he really need that much help and encouragement, Nick Kyrgios? I would say no, he doesn't. I would say that that is a box office. That is a box office selection. That's Tennis Australia trying to make sure the crowds come in for this qualifying tournament and get some news up and running about the Australian Open. Get the focus off COVID. Let's talk about Nick Kyrgios being a wild card. So got some names here for the qualifiers, the qualifying wild cards that have been given out. Now, in the main draw is some familiar names. Alexei Popyrin, Jordan Thompson, who's having some really solid results on the tour. The last 2 to 3 years, he's really found his feet. Rafael Nadal is confirmed to come, of course, as we know. And Grigor Dimitrov. So there you have it. That's all the lead-up tournaments. We've done all the hard work for you. You don't need to waste your time trawling into and out of endless streams of apps and websites. We've got all the stories in, around and about the Australian Open, all in surround sound, 4K footage. It's content you simply cannot find anywhere else in one easy-to-go-to place. So let's get into the Australian Open, the wildcards that have been announced there. Hope you enjoyed that very rudimentary summary. I'm not going to pat myself on the back about the quality of this episode. It was really just about bringing together all those names of all those players and just letting you know that that's where things are at, because you know, we live in a digital age, but it's actually sometimes not that easy to find all this information. and the Christmas New Year's break. I mean, who wants to spend all their time looking at endless streams of apps and websites and so let us do all the hard work for you. That's what we're here for, and it's so very much appreciated that we're finding out that from most of the viewers, whether it's by comments or likes or subscriptions, that this Australian Open Life is hitting the mark for you. You've been listening to The Bloke Who Walks. This was our Wildcards episode of the Spotlight series. Have a great new year. Thanks for listening, and we'll chat to you very soon. Bye for now. Based in Melbourne, Australia, this Australian Open Life is produced by Wise Words Media and Calumny Films. And as we swing into the new year, we'll have 10 to 12, almost 14-minute episodes every weekday, daily at 4 p.m, with the hit up every Sunday at 4 o'clock. And make sure that you provide us lots of input and feedback so we can fine-tune our schedule and our editorials towards the type of content that you want to hear in each episode. I'm The Bloke Who Walks. We're based in Melbourne, Australia. Finally, don't forget to subscribe and like this channel. Make sure that you get notified of new episodes whenever they're published and distributed. Our tennis coverage includes qualifying at regional events, metro events. We have a spotlight series on player watch and volunteers. And of course, our podcast, The Hit Up. If you want unique, fresh content, all you have to do is subscribe and smash the like button. You'll be helping this channel grow and spread throughout the global tennis community. And make sure you hit the bell icon to be notified of any new episode. Thanks for joining us in the Player Village at the Australian Open, down at the National Tennis Centre at Melbourne Park. We look forward to bringing you more news from the Australian Open and look forward to receiving your feedback and your comments. Look out for our special Spotlight series, Player Watch. We'll also be highlighting qualifying at regional tournaments in Bendigo and Traralgon. We'll be covering the Wheelchair Opens, the Melbourne Wheelchair Open and the Victorian Wheelchair Open. Thanks for joining us on The Hit Up. We'll see you next time. This Australian Open Life is based in Melbourne, Australia, produced by Wise Words Media and Calumny Films.